So let's talk about this jobs bill. The president has complained, and I think news organizations have confirmed it, that there are a lot of things in the president's jobs bill that Republicans have supported in the past. Why can't we chop this jobs bill up, like the president's talking about doing, and have the Republicans in the House, the Democrats in the Senate, go along with these good ideas that, again, Republicans have supported in the past?
Well, you know, it seems that there's a disconnect from what I see happening in the House.
Oh, I'm not trying to put you on the defensive. I'm just asking a basic question. Wouldn't that be a good signal to send to Americans?
But that's what we have done. The president at the very beginning said you had to pass it all whole or nothing else. Well, the Democrats in the Senate killed it, okay? So now the president said you could break it up. John Boehner said from the beginning, I'm going to look at it. And we're going to run through the process like we always do, and it would get broken up. So what's the first part we just passed? Free trade agreements.
All right.
We passed. He talked about jobs plans for veterans. Well, we've already had a bill that's gone through. We've got 13 different jobs bills sitting over in the Senate. We're more than willing to look at different ideas.
That's great. So what's another part of the president's jobs bill that you would like to see broken up, brought to the House floor, and passed by the Republican Congress?
Well, I'd like to see some tax reform broken up. But
is that in the president's jobs bill?
I don't see it in the president's
jobs bill. No, but I'm asking specifically, what's contained in the president's jobs bill? What's another good example? Because Americans want to see Congress and the president working together. That is the reality.
He does have some smaller versions of some actions that are about small business that we are taking up in financial services just next week. And one, Schweikert has a bill that's exactly what the president's talking about that will move through. I have one in the focus of where he is, where you go back and look at some of this regulation back from 1933 that should change from the standpoint.
And the president will support that as well.
Very hope so, yeah. He talks about it.
I want to just play something for you because the president is out campaigning as well as pushing the jobs bill, and the vice president is as well. And he warned what would happen if it's not passed, and he says it could put public safety at risk. Take a listen.
Police departments, as I said, in some cases literally cut in half, like Camden, New Jersey, and Flint, Michigan. In many cities, the result has been, and it's not unique, murder rates are up, robberies are up, rapes are up. The consequences of these losses are real, and they're now. But the interesting thing is why I said this is simple, and I say to the press, this is very, very simple, man. There's a solution. We can do something about it right now. It's not rocket science.
Do you want to respond? I can. There's a response from the Republican National Committee that said in part to link well-justified bipartisan opposition to the president's latest stimulus proposal to violent crime is intellectually dishonest. Is that true?
Well, I think he's using politics to try to get something. It doesn't solve the problem long term. I mean, the one thing that you can look at, you have Lieberman very concerned about, you have Tester concerned about this too, whether it's even going to be brought up. If we want to solve the long-term problem, let's stop trying to stay short-term. Did we not just do this in the stimulus, and are we not right back to where we were before?
Some would argue it didn't do enough.
$1 trillion was not enough?
Well, look at us right now.
Well, I think if you ask Americans,
look at us.
We spent $278,000 for every job that went through.
So really, we should just be cutting a lot right now. We should just cut.
No, I think we should grow. I think we should grow this economy.
Okay.
So how do we do that? How do we do that?
Well, you got to unshackle where we are.
How do we get America back to work?
I think
cutting.
Boy, you sure are hostile.
I'm sorry.
Just let me answer the question.
Oh, really?
Come on.
First, let's go to yours, okay? So you're concerned about cutting. Discretionary spending has gone up 84% under this president. How many small businesses going? And what economy are we in? We just spent $1 trillion, okay, with interest. And what did you get for that? America think $278,000 per job. So if you're concerned about where we are,
stop that for 1 second.
Hold on a second.
Hold on. Stop. So you're telling me that in the stimulus package, which was, by the way, the biggest spending bill in U.S. history, you're telling me for every job that was created in that stimulus package, that cost American taxpayers what?
$278,000.
$278,000. And what's that source? What's the source of that?
I'd have to get it right back to you. But it's a when it came out just in the last year. I mean, if you take the American people, more people believe Elvis is alive than the stimulus created jobs. So you can take any factor that you want.
So what do we do moving forward from here, though?
We don't get out of this problem just by cutting. You have to grow the pie. So If we're concerned, we've got $2 trillion sitting on the sidelines right now because of uncertainty. So in the uncertainty, if you want to compete, we're going to compete globally. So the first thing I would do, I'd reform the tax system so we can be competitive. First thing I would also do, I'd look at small business, not corporations, as going to create America. If you go back to the end of the last recession to the beginning of this one, 2001 to 2007, where people would say that was a good time in America, what jobs were created? If you had a company that had 500 employees or fewer, you had 7 million jobs in this country. If you were a company that had 500 employees or more, you cut 1 million jobs. Then look at the startups. We're at our lowest point in 16 years. Small businesses where jobs are created. You just had something on for the magazine. The #1 person, age 27, I was just with Zuckerberg a couple weeks ago. This guy, where did his business start? In a dorm room. When did it start? In 2004. How many employees does he have today? Steve Jobs, unfortunately, just passed away. Where did he start? In a garage. The entrance to market is too great. So let's focus on what creates jobs. Focus on the small business of where it's going to go. Unshackle where we are. I would take it from an American approach, and I would say if we're going to compete with the world, let's look at every single country we compete with, and let's give us a level playing field.
All right. We have to go to break, but